The alarm blares as sprinklers release a torrent of stale, metallic water. The fire system has never been used before, and the liquid stings Rin's skin, leaving her itching all over. She doesn't have time to hesitate. Pushing through the smoke, she slips into the evidence lockup room. The emergency system has triggered a full lockdown release. Doors stand open, designed for rapid evacuation. Rin moves quickly. She spots her special kunai and seizes it, then digs through the box again. The poison is gone. She checks twice to be certain, but it isn't there. A curse slips through her lips. They must have taken it to medical for examination. She needs to recover it before that happens, and the chaos of the evacuation might be her best chance. Rin glances at Mirakan through the haze of smoke. Something inside her refuses to leave the woman to the mercy of the flames. Mira may be a constant thorn in her side, but she is not the target. Her death will not be on Rin's hands. She bends down and hoists Mira onto her back. The tall, muscular woman is dead weight, every step pressing Rin's knees to the brink, but she pushes forward. Heat rolls off the walls, and the sprinkler water does little to quench the fire eating its way across the ceiling. Mira mumbles something, her voice lost beneath the blaring alarm. Rin grits her teeth. Every second here is a second closer to being trapped. She needs to move fast before the fire, or something worse closes in.
Emergency evacuation protocols initiated. Please find the nearest exit and evacuate. If you require assistance, please find the nearest evacuation robot.
A squad of evacuation robots activates with mechanical precision. Their programming is simple: guide all personnel to safety. Even prisoners fall under their protection. Any resistance is met with escalating non-lethal measures. Always calm, always efficient. All in the name of safety. Before we get to the gameplay, let's go ahead and go over our beginning of the session bookkeeping. First, I don't really think there is going to be a chaos factor change because we're still kind of in the same scene. Our objective is still the same: find the poison, and then an addendum to that would be to make it out. And so basically, Rin is going to go for the poison. Even though she's got Mirakan on her back, she's still going to try to get to medical. Because she's rescued Mirakan in a way, we're using that kill only the target weakness. I've gone ahead and added an upgrade, which marks 3 for Rin. And I've actually taken a new tag for Trained Assassin. This is the Silent Takedown. So that's going to be a handy new tag for us that we can use when we're actually being stealthy. We can get the drop on somebody and just go for that Silent Takedown. Just another +1 power for us to use under those circumstances. Previously in the last session, we had Lockdown Protocols 4, but things kind of escalated and, well, we're in the middle of an emergency. We have fires going on in basically the cell area. And so I've kind of changed that from Lockdown 4 to just Evacuation Protocols. And this is now going to be a story tag that's persistent for the rest of this scene, or at least until it's taken care of, which, let's be honest, is going to be for the rest of the scene. Also, because Rin is still technically wearing the uniform from the guard before, she now has an ill-fitting disguise. Now, before, she actually used her illusion powers to kind of fit into it, but that has since gone away, so now it is an ill-fitting disguise. And again, I'm going to treat that one as a story tag until Rin actually decides to change, which isn't going to be right now. She's still going to keep that uniform on, probably until she leaves the police station. We could still make use of it. Maybe. And the last thing that I want to go over is this new enemy type that we have, the evacuation robot. And so basically, here's what I've come up with. This is a neutral enforcer, a non-lethal subduer. Designed for emergencies, these robots guide civilians to safety and subdue resistance with escalating non-lethal force. Persistent and heavy reinforced, their priority is safety, even if that means forcing compliance. They do have a few abilities such as Restrain and Subdue, which is Restrained 2, Crowd Herding, which is compelled to comply 1 to 2 multi-target. They have a shock pulse that deals stunned 2 non-lethal electric shock damage, and emergency override. And this is basically to say that when they are met with resistance, they're going to escalate things a little bit. In terms of tags, they have protective programming, reinforced frame, non-lethal shock systems, and surveillance sensors. Their limits are damage sensors, so blinded or obscured 3. Once that sensor is taken out, they're basically done for. They're just going to be running into walls and things like that. System disruption, which is basically a hacked or glitched 2+ kind of a deal. Mobility compromised, so anything that can restrain them, specifically their legs, at least 3, is going to be enough to subdue them. And then overloaded circuits, which I think is a really interesting one. So burned or electrocuted 3 for that. So just a quick little enemy that can possibly bar Rin from getting to her goals. And especially since these guys are supposed to look for anybody inside of the police station and rescue them. If you're incarcerated, well, they're definitely going to still rescue you. And if you resist, that's when they're going to start to get aggressive, non-lethally. Anyways, Rin needs to find this poison, and it is somewhere in the police station, hopefully. And as best as she can guess, it's going to be in medical. So let's see if she can get there. Rin leaves the cell area, and she's now in the general foyer area, basically where you enter the police station and you go about the different hallways for the different areas. And she sees these robots, these evacuation robots, going about their patrol vectors, looking for anybody that needs help or anybody that needs to be escorted off of the premises due to this emergency protocol. And we might even see like a robot or 2 escorting an incarcerated person who was being processed off of the premises. And Rin wants to avoid this. So we're going to have Rin try to sneak past them to get to medical. Of course, we do need to worry about the evacuation protocols because the drones are going about, so we do need to avoid that. That's going to be a -1 power. And also, she is kind of over encumbered right now with Mira on her back. So we're going to add that. So those are going to be the 2 tags that are really going to hinder us. And to kind of combat that, I'm actually going to use 2 tags that I think are going to be very interesting. We're going to use Tough as Nails and Been Through It All. This is from Rin's rough upbringing. She's going to have to persist through this ache all over her body because remember, she's been burned. And so she's going to have to push through that with Mira on her back and try to be as sneaky as you can. And speaking of which, let's go ahead and use Trained Assassin or Trained in Ninjutsu. One of those 2 is always the sneaking one. Probably Trained Assassin if I'm being honest, because that's the one that allows you to find a clear path. And so we're going to at least have a +1 going for us. So let's go ahead and grab our dice and see what we get. A 2 and a 3 make 5, and a 1, is a 6. So that's automatically a miss. And so we're going to escalate things here. The robot, or at least a robot, is going to spot Rin, and it's going to march right up to her and say, "Please evacuate the premises." And, well, it sees that Rin is in a uniform, and would it think that she actually works there? I think that would be an interesting one. And honestly, I think I'm going to roll on the Mythic Fate chart here. Does the evacuation robot think that Rin works there? That is the implication. With a chaos factor of 9, I think it's very unlikely, but it still gives us a 75% chance. So let's take our D10s and roll. We have a 98. Wow, that should have been really easy for us to pass, but the robot scans Rin and it immediately knows that she does not work there. She's not an officer, even though it's wearing a uniform. And I don't really think it processes that. It just sees her as a person and it just wants to get her to safety. That's its programming. So, what is Rin going to do? I think she's going to try to pass Mira off to the robot because Mira is the one that needs the most help because Mira is unconscious right now. Rin kind of subdued her into unconsciousness. So I think Rin is going to try to pass Mira off to the robot so it'll just leave her alone, or at least turn its back so she can get a good strike in. So really, what tags can we use? Well, I think in this situation, Rin is going to try to be intimidating. She's going to try to press the urgency, but also in an intimidating manner to pass Mira off to the robot. So intimidating for sure. Also, this one's going to be a little bit weird, but one of the tags that the evacuation robot has is the protective programming. So could we not use that to our advantage? Because that's what it's programmed to do. So technically, wouldn't it just want to do what it's programmed to do? So I'm really hesitant to add that as a bonus for us, but I think I am going to because it is programmed to protect civilians. And that's what it was designed to do. It's going in to get all the civilians out. So let's go ahead and just use those two tags to our advantage, of course. And, well, let's go ahead and roll and see what we get. A 1 and a 5 make 6, plus 2 make 8, so a mixed success. The robot takes Mira from Rin's back, but that's not it. It needs Rin to follow it, and it's not going to move unless she goes along with it. Okay. How about this? Rin instructs her that she will follow. The robot turns its back, expecting it to follow. And I think we're going to try to exploit the situation. We're going to try to get like some sort of a backstab on the robot. So Rin is going to pull out her special kunai that she got. By the way, we got to unburn that tag because we got our item back. So we are definitely going to use that. So we're going to use Trained Assassin, Special Kunai, Silent Takedown. That's our new tag that we got from our upgrade under the Trained Assassin theme card. Now, the only tags that are going to go up against us is the Reinforced Frame. And I think I'm also going to add the Surveillance Sensors because we got a mixed success. It's not going to be a total surprise on the robot. It's still kind of keeping track of Rin and her movements. So even though Rin is going to try to do this silently and with such precision, she still is going up against its sensor. So a +1 tag for us. Let's grab our dice and see what we get. A 5 and a 1 makes 6, so that +1 makes it a 7. That's a mixed success. With that being said, Rin gets a pretty good hit on it. It's only going to deal 1 damage of some type, not enough to really hinder it in any sense. And as soon as she strikes, it turns around and like I just imagine some little siren just pops up out of its head and we see like this like maybe red and blue light just going back and forth, and we hear like some sort of a loud noise alerting others to her presence or to what's going on. Rin needs to somehow take care of this robot very quickly, so we're going to use Trained Assassin, the Special Kunai, probably not the Silent Takedown anymore. We're kind of past that. We just need to go quickly and get rid of this thing. And honestly, I kind of forgot about Trained in Ninjutsu. We could have definitely used that last one, but it wouldn't have changed anything because we are using like some form of armed martial arts, so we can go ahead and add that to our arsenal of tags. We are going to go ahead and use the reinforced armor from the robot, but that's it, not the surveillance anymore because we're not really getting a sneak attack or anything. It's fully aware of us, so that's only going to be a +2 for us. So let's go ahead and roll and see what happens. A 2 and a 2 make 4, and another 2 makes 6. Oh boy, that's not good. And Honestly, this is probably going to be the first time I've ever used a theme special, but I really think we should. We have If at First You Don't Succeed, and I believe it's a once per session you may reroll when using this tag, and that's pretty much the Trained Assassin theme card that we have. So we're going to reroll because I really don't want to miss. I don't want Rin to get caught, especially this early. So let's go ahead and reroll and see what we get. A 5 and a 4 make 9, plus the 2 make an 11. That is a full success. And with this full success, this strong hit, I think I'm actually going to take a consequence to get a +1. And really what I'm trying to do is we're going to disable this alarm that the bot has going for it. And in that process, we're just going to take it out right from the get-go. And so I think I'm just going to deal like a 3 damage tag to it just to kind of get rid of it completely. And so the thing collapses, the alarm has stopped from its head, and Mira is on the floor. And I think Rin is going to do something drastic. So part of the consequence is that we're going to have Mira wake up. And of course, she's not happy. There's water raining down all over because of the sprinkler systems. She sees this woman who's just been a pain in her side for whatever reason. Like, she doesn't even know why Rin is fighting her or anything like that, or why she feels such hatred towards Rin. But she's there and she is getting fired up. And I think Rin is going to need to somehow de-escalate the situation. Mira Khan's eyes snap open. The first thing she sees is Rin in an ill-fitting uniform, and raw hatred ignites in her gaze. Smoke from the east wing, the holding cells, slithers into the room, acrid and heavy. A deactivated evacuation robot lies sparking beside her, its blank faceplate staring at nothing. Mira's lip curls in confusion and rage. Rin crouches at her side.
Listen, we need to get out of here. The station's in full evacuation.
You... Mira lunges, teeth bared, but Rin slips out of her reach with ease.
I know I don't look like the most trustworthy person right now, but this place is going up in flames. If you want to survive, follow me.
Mira's gaze cuts toward the front entrance. No. I follow you, and you'll gut me the second I turn my back. I'll claw my way out of here myself if I have to. She stalks toward the doors, but Rin's voice stops her.
If you walk out there, the cops will be waiting. They'll throw you back in chains. This is your one shot at freedom.
Mira freezes, trembling with fury. She hates it, but Rin is right. Fine, but you're leading. I'm not taking my eyes off you.
Fine.
And when we're out, I'll peel that smug face right off your skull.
Whatever. We go through medical, then to the garage. If we can reach it, we're gone.
Mira snorts. Medical? You're insane. That's where the chemicals are. When this place blows, that's ground zero. Why not the back door? Unless you want us roasted alive.
What are you talking about? Just don't set anything else on fire.
Keep yapping. See where it gets you. Mira is reluctantly going to follow Rin, and really, the only other exit that Rin can think of is probably through the garage, which medical happens to be conveniently next to. And so the two make their way down that hallway into the medical sector. It's just a small area that's attached to the garage just in case any officers are injured on the job. They can come back in their vehicle and then just go right into medical right there. Or if there's any incarcerated person that has been injured or needs to detoxify, I guess, they can just be taken right into medical. And since we're in evacuation emergency protocols, all the doors should be unlocked, so we don't need to worry about getting through using our security badge that we got from the uniform. And of course, as Rin is taking point, she can definitely feel Mira's eyes on her. and not in a good way. Like, she feels that fiery hatred. But they do make it into medical, and, well, we do need to see if there are any robots here. So let's go ahead and give this a 50-50 shot. Are there any robots here? It's a 90% chance. Let's be honest, it's probably going to happen. A 10. Wow, now we get the low roll. So yes, there is. And in fact, that is an extreme success. So we're going to say that not only is there a robot, actually, that is an extreme success. Let's ramp this up a little bit. We see Rin and Mira go into medical, and Rin has managed to convince Mira to just go in here real quick, see if they can get anything that might help them out. She's probably playing it off that, you know, we need to find like some key to the garage or something like that, or that she needs to, you know, heal up just a little bit because of the burns. Whatever the case may be, they make it into medical, or maybe you have to get through medical to get to the garage. Actually, that kind of seems pretty plausible in a way. So they're in medical, and Rin is keeping a lookout because she's looking for that poison. She needs to get that before they leave. But there is somebody there. Not an evacuation robot, but a robot. It is Aegis. And he stands there with the vial in his fingers.
I was wondering when you would be by to pick this up.
And Rin just kind of glares at him. Mira kind of steps forward so that they are side by side. Listen up, you're blocking my way out of here, so why don't you step aside? And Aegis is just kind of looks at Mira.
Funny that you should ally yourself with this one who has, well, not beaten you just once, but twice.
Well, you know what they say. The enemy of my enemy is also my enemy. And Aegis just kind of looks at Mira. I don't really think he can make expressions, or at least ones that display confusion. But I do think that Rin fully catches on. That's not how the saying goes at all. But she'll take it. And so Rin pulls out her kunai, and she kind of looks at Mira.
Do you think you can take him?
And Mira begins to crack her knuckles. Of course I can. Aegis pockets the poison in his vest pocket.
So, the assassin works with the irritable hothead. What will this world think of next?
But Aegis isn't just working alone. We hear this ear-piercing scream, and even though the heat is ramping up next to Rin, she feels the chill on the back of her neck. It kind of gets a little bit dark as John Cho enters the room with his shikigami, and he says, "Please, I implore you, give this up and come peacefully." But of course, they will have none of that. The shikigami materializes next to John Cho, playing with an ally. This one's a bit wonky, and the only thing that I could find in the rulebook is on page 111. So playing with a secondary PC. And I think that's really what I'm going to have to do here. A secondary player character is any character a player controls other than their main PC, such as rallied allies or summoned beings. It may be represented by one or more power, weaknesses, loadout, or story tags. A player may take action with a secondary PC in the same way they take action with their main PC. The MC rules whether the secondary PC gets their own spotlight, or whether the player must choose which PC to act with whenever they get the spotlight. A secondary PC takes consequences and specifically statuses independently. These affect actions taken with the secondary PC as they would any PC. The MC may set limits for a secondary PC, usually equal to the total number of tags describing them, but no more than 5, the main PC's default limit. So really what we're doing is well, we have another PC to play with, at least for the time being. Mira is fighting with Rin against Aegis and Jansho and his Shikigami. And I think Rin is going to turn to Mira and say,
You go for the Shikigami. I'll take care of the robot.
and Mira is going to look at Rin and say, You want me to go after the spooky ghost lady? Are you serious? And Rin just kind of gives her a blank stare and is like,
Yes, and don't let it touch you. Trust me, it will possess you.
You mean like possession? And Rin just nods her head. Are you kidding me? You want me to go up against a spooky ghost lady that can possess me just by touching me? But I think we're past the point of waiting. Rin is going to charge forward as Aegis pulls a weapon on Rin. Well, let's see if she can take him out before he pulls the trigger. We're going to be using Trained Assassin, special kunai for this one. Not silent takedown. Yeah, we don't really care about being silent right now. But we are going to go ahead and use the Trained in Ninjutsu tag just to kind of get in there and start doing some martial arts to look for an opening to get the stab in. And actually, that's probably about it. We don't have to really worry about kill only the target because he's not a real boy. So, 3 tags. And you know what? Aegis is a very calculating type of character. I think it makes sense that we would give him some sort of a tactical analysis thing where he can kind of sort of try to predict what's about to happen. So we're going to go ahead and take away 1 power. So we're working with 2 power here. So let's grab our dice and get to rolling. 4 plus 5 is 9, plus 2 is 11. That is a full success. And you know what? We're actually going to do something a little bit different, just for a dramatic flair. Rin gets in very close, but she doesn't really attack Aegis. Instead, she swipes and cuts through his pistol. So we're basically getting rid of Aegis's weapon here. So we're effectively kind of like burning a tag for him, if that makes any sense. So he's not going to be able to use that ability or that threat against Rin. So his weapon is taken care of. Now she is going to do the same thing again. So we're going to use Trained Assassin, the special kunai, and even Trained in Ninjutsu, but we're actually going to use a weakness on her because she is trying to be very precise in her strike, because she does not want to damage the poison. She needs that for her mission here. So we're gonna go ahead and take away 1 power here to work with 2 for this next roll. Same as last. A 1 and a 6 make 7, plus the 2 is 9. That is still a mixed success with some sort of a consequence attached to it. And I'm thinking that Rin uses her kunai to kind of cut through the straps of Aegis's armor a little bit, and she's trying to like pull it off of him to get to that poison because she needs that vial. But Aegis has already managed to alert his task force to their presence. And Rin kind of yells out to Mira,
We don't have a whole lot of time. We need to finish this quick and escape.
and Mira's kind of like, I'm a little bit busy right now. Speaking of which, let's have Mira do something. For Mira's tags, we're going to use Volatile Strength. I don't think she's angry enough for us to utilize Bad Temper in any way, so that's kind of off the board for now. We are going to use Fiery Aura, so she's ramping up the temperature, so she could possibly do something about that. I guess she does have the Fire Blast and the Fire Punch as threats. Can we use that in some sort of a way? I guess technically that is a tag that we can use, right? So let's go ahead and we'll use those 3. So we're gonna have power of 3 against Jansho here, who's basically just got a Shikigami for protection. So let's roll and see what we get. A 2 and a 5 make 7, plus that 3 is 10. So a full success. Mira just like gets this fire fist and goes for Jansho, but the Shikigami like gets in the way. And well, I guess because Mira is using like the mythos side of things, I guess it would affect a ghost if that makes any sense. So the Shikigami is, I guess, effectively banished. At least that's the ruling that I'm going to apply here. Instead of John Cho taking the full brunt of the damage, it's going to be the Shikigami. So it kind of sacrifices itself for now to save John Cho. And so I kind of like imagine as Mira punches through this ghost that it explodes in like ectoplasm and just like covers her in slime. And she's like spitting some of it out and she's like, "Oh, that's so nasty. You owe me for this one." And Rin is dealing with Aegis. And so let's go ahead and have Rin roll to see if she can get this poison vial from his vest. And really the only thing that I think that we can use in terms of tags is the special kunai to see if we can cut the vest away from Aegis, and trained in ninjutsu because of the martial arts. So we're trying to block attacks and get into the vest at the same time. So I'm just gonna go ahead and deal with those two tags and see if we can really get anything done. So let's grab our dice and roll and see what we get. 6 and a 4 make 10 plus that 2 is 12. So yes, we managed to cut through the straps of the vest and just take it off of Aegis. And so Rin has this vest and she kind of reaches into the pocket and pulls out the vial of poison. It's time to get out. So Rin pockets the poison, something that she really doesn't want to have to explain to Mira right now. So we're gonna tuck that away for later, which means we actually do unburn the special poison because we do have that in our possession now. So pretty cool for that. And now really the only thing for us to do is to make a break for it. And the task force has not really arrived just yet. They're still making their way through. And so we're going to take this opportunity to go ahead and escape. Rin is going to be using the trained assassin tag just to find the quickest route to escape through the garage area. And so we're also going to use trained in ninjutsu because I realize that we're like in the medical area. So there must be like tables and other pieces of furniture that can basically hinder us. So we're gonna use acrobatics to just jump and flip over all of that stuff. So we're gonna go ahead and take our dice and roll. Let's see what we get. A 2 and a 4 makes 6 plus another 2 is an 8, so a mixed success. So Rin is jumping over all of this furniture and, well, I guess Aegis is going to run after her.